Dear me, look at this. Look at this shot of Rey, looking like one of the X-Men, looking heroic, looking awesome. I think it's a painting, because I've never seen Rey look like this in any of the Star Wars movies that she's been in. Most of the time when Rey is on the screen, she looks like she's watching two clowns try to make a baby together at a circus and understand what's going on. She's kind of got this look on her face most of the time. But I don't know. I'd be interested in seeing a Star Wars movie where Rey looked awesome like this. And if I did see that, I would admit it. I would say I was wrong about Star Wars The Last Jedi. But I'm not wrong about Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Hello, I started this gangster shit. And this the thanks I get. Hello, I started this gangster shit. And this the
It's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm Ethan Van Sciver, comic book artist, a Star Wars fan, but mostly I'm your friend. Your friend. Sean O'Connell, what's going on? Why do you doubt yourself? What happened? Well, let's find out if you were a fan of the movie originally and have changed your mind, or if you hated the movie and have changed your mind. Rian Johnson's Star Wars The Last Jedi didn't work for me the first time I saw it. Oh, that's an understatement. It nearly put me in a coma, honestly, Sean. It wasn't the movie I expected. I'm sorry. A fault of mine and not of the movie, naturally. Oh, we gotta blame ourselves for this. I don't blame myself for this at all. You know, I didn't have any expectations for the movie except that it was going to be good, Sean. I expected to be entertained, at least at the level of the Phantom Menace. If it turned out to be another Phantom Menace, I would have been like, okay, all right, yeah. Another 2 years before we have to do this again, but that was fine. But it wasn't. It was dreadful. I don't blame myself at all. I absolve myself. You do not. The story's desire to subvert expectations at virtually every turn rubbed me the wrong way. The repeated false endings aggravated me. Yeah, like I kept thinking it was... I know what he means by that. I kept thinking it was going to be over, and it never ended. It never ended. The Avengers sequel was the same way. I think most Marvel movies are the same way. They don't end. They kind of fizzle out. Like, okay, so after the big fight is over, then basically every single character from the movie pairs up and they have a little conversation about how they feel about what they just went through. And then eventually that's another hour. It's just another hour of characters pairing up, talking to each other, working out their differences before we can get to the end credits scroll. This movie never ended either. It was kind of like that, where I was like, I don't know. And then when the ending came, I was like, what is this? I thought it was going to be a whole other movie, and it freaked me out, but luckily. All right, so as did Johnson's deliberate attempt to reverse virtually everything we, the collective fan base, thought a Star Wars movie should deserve or deliver. Luke's lightsaber? Not important. Rey's parents? A total dead end. Supreme Leader Snoke? We hardly knew you. Actually, that was my favorite part of the movie. Yeah, I liked him getting cut in half. Although, I did think it was weird because if you just... Alright, so if you turned a lightsaber around and then kind of turned it on, it would just kind of poke a hole through your side, right? Why did he cut him in half? I have to watch it again. Oh, God, I have to watch it again? Did he actually swing the lightsaber a little bit to actually sever his spinal column? And cut him into two pieces? Like, what was that? Or did the lightsaber, like, burn through him and sever his midsection? Just, by just sitting still. I don't know, I gotta watch that again. I'll watch it again, I'll get back to you. I thought Johnson mishandled a lot of the tantalizing plot threads that J.J. Abrams established in The Force Awakens. All right, so we talk about Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to Disney Star Wars. We talk about people being so frightened and so nervous about having to be honest in their critique of Star Wars that they completely become subservient to it. I mean, they just grovel before it, and they say things like this. Now, your first instinct was that it was a terrible movie. Yeah, your first instinct was that it subverted everything that a decent Star Wars movie would normally deliver, that it disgraced, spat upon the Force, making it a utilitarian superhero device that basically anyone could do, could handle, could manipulate in ways that made them all Superman. And you thought that it introduced characters and subplots that basically meant nothing and should have meant something. Those were your initial instincts. This is sad. This is really sad. I don't like seeing this. I mean, you weren't wrong. You were right. It's okay. Stand by your convictions. Like Comic Artist Pro Secrets does. Now that Star Wars The Last Jedi is out on Blu-ray and streaming, I was able to finally settle in for a second viewing. Whew. And what I discovered was the movie Rian Johnson always meant for me to see, and not the movie I thought I was seeing on a first pass. Oh my God, he's gone nuts. There's a definite distinction, and one that doesn't always crystallize on first pass, particularly for a movie like The Last Jedi, which we, as entertainment journalists, me included, right? You mean me too? I am now an entertainment journalist. Spent months and even years writing about as we led up to the release date. By the way, those of you who are saying, why do you continue obsessing over that? Well, listen, this might be my 9th Star Wars video, maybe my 10th. This guy spent months, even years, worried about it. What in the name of God? Whoa. Okay, all right. She means business. See, this, I mean, honestly, if you want to talk about making a female Star Wars hero, that's, yeah, all right. That looks like a good time to me. She looks like a heroic female. So this guy does it all the time. He obsesses about it. I've just barely scratched the surface. Okay, the subversion, good word, happens almost immediately when Luke Skywalker accepts the lightsaber that Rey has traveled great distances to return to him, and he tosses it over his shoulder and sucks on the nipple of a gigantic humanoid sea monster. He's allowed the X-Wing fighter to sink to the bottom of the water off the coast of Ahch-To. It continued as we learned the supposed truth about Rey's heritage and the importance of Snoke to the overall trilogy being told here. When I first watched Star Wars The Last Jedi, I saw too many of these scenes as preordained boxes that I needed to see checked off. I also found myself disagreeing with almost all the answers that Rian Johnson was giving his audience, was giving me personally. Yeah. How could Rey come from no one special? Yeah, exactly. Because she's not important. She's not important. There's no legacy being built here. How could Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, dispose of his mentor, Snoke, in a dramatic but still unceremonious fashion? Because nothing matters. None of this matters. This isn't real. Leaving far too many unanswered questions. And why is Luke behaving this way? Because it was his movie to be disgraced in. That's why. I can answer. These are not unanswered questions. Comic Artist Pro Secrets, me, Ethan Van Sciver, I have answered them for my viewers. Luke is behaving this way because this was his movie to have his character utterly shamed and disgraced, degraded. Snoke, I don't know. I assume Rian Johnson didn't like the character, so let's get rid of him. Kylo Ren doesn't matter. Rey doesn't matter. None of these characters matter. Oh, on a second pass, however. Oh God, here it comes. I wonder, was there a turning point for Charles Manson family? I mean, was Squeaky Fromme a normal person at one point? And then suddenly she kind of, had a second pass at reality and tried to kill Gerald Ford. I mean, you have to wonder these things because this is, generally speaking, when it comes to a movie, your first instinct should be kind of correct. Now, if you're seeing a movie once and you come out of it feeling like you've had your head up an elephant's butt, that's a bad thing, and you don't really need to see the movie again. Most people aren't going to see the movie again. They're going to see it once. Now, there are movies that are like Citizen Kane, where you see it once and you go, whoa, that that was impressive, but I need to see it again to really take in things that I was missing. I'll see it a third, a fourth time, and see even more things that understand it, understand its context and history and what it means, and who the characters actually represented, and Orson Welles' brilliant use of imagery. On a shoestring budget, by the way. These things are reasons to watch a movie over and over again. I mean, watching The Last Jedi again, because it seems like you almost insist on it not being a pile of crap. Just seems like a bad idea. So let's find out. But yeah, it is kind of squeaky fromish. It is kind of Manson family-ish. This whole, it must be me. Couldn't be their fault. It must be my fault. Alright, so it's easy to see these sequences in the actual context of the movie that's playing out, and in truth, they fit. Rian Johnson knows that they fit. He wrote the damned movie. Yes, he did. He wrote that damned movie. But they don't fit in the way that Star Wars fans might initially expect, and that's jarring. So much of Star Wars The Last Jedi is about eliminating the past, about starting over. It's time for the Jedi to end, Luke laments, though he screams out loud, still hesitating, when Yoda himself burns down the tree and ignites the sacred text. Luke wants to destroy the past. He knows it's mandatory so that the resistance can actually evolve. But he's not able to. It's what he loves. It's all he knows. Oh, get it? It's all a metaphor for social justice. Isn't this Rian Johnson speaking directly to the Star Wars faithful? Yes, it is. It's him giving the finger to the Star Wars faithful, saying what you love about this franchise needs to die so that we can do it my way, so that we can move forward. This is the thing, by the way, about SJWs in entertainment. They can't just tell stories within the boundaries of, the legend, the legacy. They can't do it. They have to destroy it in order to do it their way, in order for it to say things that they want to be said. And then they get angry, and they, when the fans respond to them negatively, they say, well, you can't please everyone. It's all a pattern. It's really amazing. Okay, so when Kylo tells Rey they can eliminate the Resistance and the First Order and start anew, how do you not step back and think of this in terms of the future of Star Wars as a storytelling vehicle? We do. This isn't subtle, Sean, the author of this article. This is not subtle. This is exactly what he's doing. This is exactly what he's doing. If you put me on the Star Trek franchise as a writer, I don't know very much about Star Trek, maybe. I could just say, well, we need to destroy Star Trek and start over and make it into something that I do understand. That doesn't make me interesting. That makes me obnoxious and toxic. Yeah. The Skywalker saga is ending. Yeah, it is. But with deals in place with creators like Jon Favreau, Rian Johnson, don't put these two together, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, you realize that letting the past go only means embracing the future. And the future can be bright. Oh my God. It's like a cult. He's become a cult member. On a first pass, I was also so caught up in the seemingly important quote-unquote answers, Star Wars The Last Jedi, that I totally missed so many of the bold and sweeping choices that Rian Johnson made to this mythology. He gave Luke the heroic send-off that the character deserved. No, he didn't. Able to assist the rebels one last time as he confronted his one mistake, the disappointed Ben Solo. He established strong new voices, sacrificed important characters, and painted himself into a bit of an unexpected corner with Leia, given the passing of Carrie Fisher, and spread the seeds of rebellion to the next generation of Star Wars fans, both on the screen and off, knowing that it's them, not us, who will carry the baton of Star Wars fandom for years to come. They're not interested. This is the whole thing that you don't understand. That's the whole thing you don't understand. The fans of Star Wars are largely adults that saw the original movies and care about it. I know you're trying to get kids, this generation of kids, to feel the same way, but boy, you give them a movie like this and they're not going to join on. They're just not going to join on. Does it all work? Absolutely not. Flying Space Leia is still a bizarre choice. The special effects in Canto Bight are embarrassingly unfinished, though that detour isn't as obnoxious. And for the life of me, I don't understand the choice of Benicio del Toro is making in his performance. That was uncomfortable. I do agree. Flying Space Leia is not a bizarre choice if you don't understand the Force. Okay? If you don't understand the Force, if the Force is just... I was talking to another YouTuber who did a video last night called the democratization of the Force, meaning that the Force is something that basically anyone can blah blah blah. I call it the cheapening of the Force. The Force doesn't mean anything anymore. The Force is not a religion. It's not. It isn't nirvana. It isn't anything that you have to struggle to kind of gain closeness with. It's not something that you can reach. It's not. It just is something that anyone can do apparently, and it makes you do magic things. The Force exists, sure, and anyone can utilize it to do the most amazing, incredible things now. So it basically has cheapened the Force, because the Force no longer represents spirituality, no longer represents communication with some sort of like godlike force that you must pray and concentrate and meditate to link up with. Now it's just you just do whatever you want. Okay. But on second pass, the questionable was extremely overpowered by the bold and courageous, and I saw Star Wars The Last Jedi through a different prism. I connected with it differently, and I saw it through a different prism. You said that. Wait a second. Let me see. Let me read this again, because this might be like cult gibberish here. I saw Star Wars The Last Jedi through a different prism. I connected with it differently, and I saw it through a different prism. The movie didn't change, but I did, and I'm thankful for it. Jesus, God, excuse my language. Oh my God. That is terrifying. You know what, Sean? As Obi-Wan Kenobi said, trust your feelings, trust your instincts, reach out with your feelings. You may actually be in touch with the dark side here. Your initial instincts were exactly correct. You sensed evil in the movie. You sensed carelessness. You sensed selfishness in the movie. And you were right. You were right. And if you think that Rian Johnson is some kind of a genius, that it's only taken you some time to appreciate, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't believe he is that genius. I think you're giving him too much credit and yourself not enough credit. It's no secret at all that I couldn't do this channel if it wasn't for support from you, my subscriber base, and my Patreon donors. If you'd like to join this community by pledging $1 or more per month, go check out the link in the description below. And I thank you.